or wedged into a familiar coral crevice where they can remain underwater for as long as 5 hours. Up to 9 minutes may pass between each heartbeat. Sea turtles are affectionately known to native Hawaiians as honu. For thousands of years, these shy and gentle creatures have played an important role in native Hawaiian culture, where sea turtles have been revered as sacred and worshipped as deities. In ancient times, the Hawaiian goddess Kawila was said to have changed herself into a green sea turtle. Once transformed, she would roam the island's waters, watching over and protecting the island's children as they swam in the surf. Tragically, the European colonization of the islands in the 1800s devastated native Hawaiian culture and the wildlife of the archipelago. For the next 100 years, the island sea turtles were subjected to unregulated and relentless hunting. In the early 1970s, scientists warned that most of Hawaii's once abundant sea turtle populations were nearly gone. The crisis led to sea turtles being listed as threatened with extinction under the U.S. Endangered Species Act in 1974. Since this time, Hawaii's sea turtles and their nesting beaches have been protected. Green sea turtles in Hawaii have been tagged that are over 100 years of age. However, perhaps only 1 in 1,000 sea turtles survives long enough to reach sexual maturity at 20 to 30 years of age. When Hawaii's female green sea turtles are ready to mate, they leave the shelter of their coastal feeding grounds and migrate 1,000 miles northwest to the farthest reaches of the archipelago. The males accompany the females on this ancient migration. When they reach French Frigate Shoals, mating begins. The males have an elongated claw attached to their front flippers, which allows them to grasp the shell of the female. "90% of Hawaii's female green sea turtles nest on these remote beaches. The isolation and lack of human presence provides a safe haven for the nesting females. This remote region is also home to the rare and endangered Hawaiian monk seal, which exists nowhere else on Earth. The turtles and monk seals are often seen basking together on the beach. "30 days after mating, the female green sea turtle comes ashore to nest. She returns to the very beach from where she hatched decades before. She carefully digs an egg chamber in the sand. It may take her more than an hour to deposit her clutch of about 90 eggs. She then backfills the chamber, throwing dry sand over the site as camouflage against predators. In about 60 days, her hatchlings will emerge and begin anew this prehistoric struggle for survival of one of the Earth's most ancient animal life forms. Adult green sea turtles are unique in that they become vegetarians as they mature. Ironically, this particular diet is one factor that now endangers green sea turtle populations in Hawaii, where large numbers are being afflicted by a mysterious and deadly virus called fibropapilloma. This disease, characterized by tumorous growths and a gradual failure of the turtle's immune system, has been linked to a viral infection and possibly to pollution. Dr. George Balazs is one of the world's leading sea turtle experts and directs a team of marine biologists who are studying the disease. They have been monitoring the health of the green sea turtles along the coasts of Hawaii's main islands. Many of these sea turtle feeding grounds occur near areas that concentrate pesticide and chemical runoff after heavy rains from the island's agricultural fields, municipal waste, and golf courses. One theory is that the chemical pesticides and fertilizer runoff concentrates in the seaweeds and algae and are then digested by the sea turtles that feed on these polluted coastal habitats. Dr. Balazs is working with an international team of marine biologists to develop a turtle protection plan they hope will save Hawaii's green sea turtles and limit the spread of the virus to other sea turtle populations in the islands. Yet, Dr. Balazs and the researchers continue to be greatly concerned about the virus's threat to Hawaii's green sea turtles. Ironically, the outbreak of the virus comes at a time that otherwise has seen a remarkable recovery of green sea turtle populations throughout the islands. In the 20 years since sea turtles have been protected by the U.S. Endangered Species Act, their numbers have increased steadily each year. This amazing recovery gives hope and affirmation that these ancient and once revered creatures will be saved from extinction. Everywhere in Hawaii today, we see the signs that a new era of reverence and respect for these ancient creatures is being revived. Often inspired by the island's children, who seem to understand that just as the goddess Kawila once became their guardian and protector, it is now the children, with their love of the shy and gentle Honu, who are returning this blessing and protection to the island's endangered and beloved sea turtles. Here along the southeast coast of the United States is the realm of the loggerhead sea turtle, and one of the world's last major nesting regions for this remarkable species. Loggerheads may well be the turtles which inspired creation myths common to many Native American tribes. According to legend, the Native American Iroquois tribes are descendants of Sky Woman, a celestial being who fell gently from the sky onto the back of a great turtle that rose from the sea. All of creation now rides on this turtle's back. After emerging from their eggs beneath the sand, baby loggerheads must survive a perilous trek across the beach before swimming away to fend for themselves on the open ocean for the next 5 years. The young loggerheads swim out to floating beds of sargassum weed. Here, they drift on the currents and survive by feeding primarily on jellyfish. These vast and drifting schools of jellyfish provide an abundant and easily captured food supply for the young loggerheads. Mature loggerheads are also found feeding upon the drifting schools of jellyfish. As adolescents, loggerheads return to the waters, where they are sustained not only by jellyfish, but also by shrimp, mollusks, and crab, which they crush and grind with their powerful jaws. Often they establish a favorite underwater nook or crevice, a place to sleep and take refuge. Because loggerheads spend most of their lives at sea, what we know of their life cycle is limited almost entirely to observing the females when they come ashore to nest and to lay their eggs. For the past 20 years, scientists have documented a severe decline in the number of nesting sites. This situation has led to loggerheads being listed as threatened with extinction in U.S. waters. Male loggerheads never come to land. Female sea turtles, however, compelled by millions of years of evolution, instinctively return to the very beach where they were born. Once ashore, these shy and vulnerable animals often face real trouble. Warm sandy beaches attract both humans and turtles. For people, the beaches are mostly a means of recreation. For the turtles, it is their very survival. If a female sea turtle encounters excessive human activity on her nesting beach, she will often return to the sea without laying her eggs. Even if she manages to successfully lay her eggs, the hatchlings often suffer extreme predation. The effects of this human invasion are not limited to daytime hours. Baby loggerheads usually emerge from their nests in the cool of the evening. Instinctively, they crawl toward the brightest horizon, which, under natural circumstances, would be the surf. Bright, artificial lights, however, easily disorient the young turtles. And tragically, many are drawn inland to their death. In response to these man-made problems, scientists are working with local communities throughout the U.S. Southeast and Gulf of Mexico to protect the remaining beaches where loggerheads still come to nest. In areas where human activities are difficult to control, eggs are sometimes moved to protected areas where they can safely incubate and hatch. In recent years, scientists are finding that the numbers of nesting female loggerheads are increasing at many of the protected nesting sites, which gives hope that loggerheads in the United States can be saved from extinction. Another promising development is that ecotourism and diving with sea turtles is becoming an extremely popular activity. This particular male loggerhead has become somewhat of a seasonal celebrity off the coast of Palm Beach, Florida, where he is affectionately known to generations of divers as Robert. Robert has also developed a special friendship over the past 17 years with Noreen Rouse, shown here in the yellow dive suit. Each year, Robert seeks out Noreen in particular. In an extraordinary expression of trust, Robert allows Noreen to groom and clean him. Noreen has also learned Robert's favorite underwater plant foods, like these algae, which he allows Noreen to feed him. Robert's ability to trust humans and his friendship with Noreen expresses the potential for an entirely new level of understanding between ourselves and these ancient reptiles. One based on trust and respect rather than fear and exploitation. Another sea turtle species found in U.S. waters throughout the Gulf of Mexico is the Kemp's Ridley. The only known nesting beach remaining in the world for Kemp's Ridleys is Rancho Nuevo, Mexico. This rare film, shot in 1947, shows more than 40,000 female Kemps on this beach during an event known as an arribada, or Great Arrival. The mass nesting instinct of this species, evolved over time, most likely is a response to predation. Under normal conditions, the sheer number of hatchlings to emerge after such an event would have guaranteed a higher survival rate. Unfortunately, this strategy is far less effective against human predation. The exploitation of the Kemp's Ridley in Mexico and the United States during the last 20 years for their meat, skin, and eggs is one of the primary reasons this sea turtle species is now threatened with extinction. Rancho Nuevo, this single strip of sand, is now the last nesting beach remaining in the world for this unique species. By 1992, less than 400 Kemp's Ridleys returned to nest at Rancho Nuevo. In response to the crisis facing the Kemp's Ridley, the Mexican government and scientists are working with local communities to protect the turtles and their nesting beach at Rancho Nuevo. The results of this project are very encouraging, as every year the number of new nesting sites slowly increases. However, another serious threat faces the Kemp's Ridley in U.S. waters. Every year, nearly 15,000 Kemp's Ridley and loggerhead turtles are accidentally caught and drowned in the nets of U.S. shrimp trawlers. The shrimp fishing industry is now considered the single greatest threat to sea turtles in the United States. Fortunately, a new technology invented by shrimp fishermen themselves can now prevent the accidental capture of sea turtles. Turtle excluder devices, commonly called TEDs, have in most cases made shrimp fishing more efficient. The effect on turtles has been dramatic. When caught in the wide mouth of a trolling net, the sea turtle is forced down to where the TED acts as a deflector. The turtle slides upward along the bars of the grid, hitting a webbed flap that pops open, allowing the turtle to escape and the shrimp to pass through. Nearly 97% of the sea turtles caught in these shrimp nets are now released alive and uninjured. U.S. fishermen are now required by law to use TEDs. Foreign shrimp fleets are also required to use TEDs before they are allowed to sell their shrimp in the United States. The invention of TEDs and the laws requiring their use gives new hope for the protection of sea turtles in the U.S. and around the world. And demonstrates that positive actions taken by fishermen, scientists, and local communities are all helping to bring sea turtles back from the edge of extinction. Here in the coastal waters of Japan, we find one of the northernmost homes for green sea turtles, as well as loggerheads. And the rare and beautiful hawksbill turtles. Hawksbill turtles are named for their narrow, hooked beak, perfectly adapted for foraging among the crevices and cracks of underwater reefs. The hawksbill is regarded by many as the most beautiful of all sea turtles. The beauty of the hawksbill shell has also inspired a centuries-old craft in Japan known as beko, which involves carving their shells into beautiful objects of art, distinctive shell jewelry, and fashion items like eyeglass frames, pocket combs, and other luxury apparel from the shells of hawksbill turtles. Japan's demand for shell and leather resulted in the deaths of over 1 million turtles. 670,000 were hawksbills for the beko trade. With Japan's own hawksbill populations nearly extinct, most of the turtles came from Indonesia and Bali, where hawksbills were still abundant. The result of this unregulated hunting was that hawksbill turtles throughout Asia, the Caribbean, and the Pacific were forced to the very brink of extinction. In response, an international treaty protecting endangered wildlife, known as CITES, listed all sea turtle species as threatened with extinction. The United States, Japan, and 120 other nations have signed this treaty. Since 1994, all trade in turtle shell and leather has been banned in Japan. In many of the areas where sea turtles still nest in Japan, another ancient tradition is being revived, with celebrations honoring one of Japan's most beloved legends. It tells of a fisherman who rescues a sea turtle drowning in his net. The grateful turtle repays the fisherman's compassion by bestowing upon him a prosperous life and the ability to journey into a magical paradise under the ocean, a paradise known only to the sea turtles. In the town of Hawassa, local school children, inspired by this legend and their affection for the turtles, have created a sanctuary at the nesting beach near their town. Local biologists have also developed a turtle hatchery, where the children are involved in helping to restore the endangered sea turtle populations of the region. Japan's commitment to uphold the CITES Treaty and the dedication of local communities like Hawassa are hopeful signs that the crisis of extinction facing Japan's sea turtles can be prevented. Further south from Japan lies the island of Bali within the Indonesian archipelago. Bali's distinct sculptured landscape has been created over thousands of years by the labors of its people, a predominantly Hindu culture with exotic artistic and religious traditions still practiced today. The tropical waters surrounding this extraordinary island and culture are also home to green sea turtles. Hawksbills are also plentiful. And the largest sea turtle of all, the leatherback, still navigates these waters. The Indonesian archipelago appears in many ways to be a sea turtle paradise. But unfortunately, the turtles of this region continue to be relentlessly hunted for their meat, skins, shell, and eggs. It has been illegal to kill sea turtles in Indonesia since the country signed the CITES Treaty in 1980. Yet the law is unevenly enforced. As a result, each year, nearly 35,000 green sea turtles and 2,000 hawksbills are captured throughout the archipelago in violation of the CITES Treaty. The turtles are usually captured alive and taken by boat to Bali. After they are unloaded, the turtles are taken to markets in nearby towns. They are kept in enclosed pens, built in shallow lagoons near village markets. The turtles remain captive in these pens for weeks at a time. Until they are finally sold and slaughtered, primarily for their meat and skins. Sea turtles have been hunted throughout Indonesia for hundreds of years, and for now, this cultural tradition appears to be stronger than the government's willingness to enforce the International CITES Treaty protecting sea turtles. Marine biologists studying the region's sea turtle populations continue to warn Indonesia that if this hunting continues at current levels, both green and hawksbill turtles in the region will not survive. One promising sign is that ecotourism is increasing dramatically throughout Bali and Indonesia, and diving with the island sea turtles has become a favorite attraction for tourists. With the island sea turtles drawing increasing ecotourism to Indonesia, the government appears to be realizing that the turtles are far more valuable to their economy if they remain alive and protected. As in other cultures and parts of the world, here in Bali, there is a growing realization of the sea turtle's plight, and the gentle beauty and innocence of these ancient beings appears to be inspiring people throughout the islands to protect them. East of the Indonesian archipelago lies the Pacific Ocean. Navigating this vast ocean are the largest reptiles alive today, quite literally throwbacks to the Jurassic Age. It is the turtle bearing the strongest resemblance to Archelon, the prehistoric mammoth that roamed the world's oceans 70 million years ago. Yet, despite this ancient lineage, today they exist on the very edge of extinction. Leatherbacks were named for their carapace, which, unlike the hardened shells of other sea turtles, is soft and leathery. The hydrodynamic contours of their shell, with 7 distinct ridges, help the turtles navigate across strong ocean currents. Leatherbacks have been seen feeding in frigid waters off the coast of Alaska and as far south as the southern tip of New Zealand. Equipped with extremely long foreflippers, they are the most powerful swimmers and the deepest divers by far of all sea turtles. Leatherbacks follow the movements of vast schools of jellyfish thousands of miles across the open ocean. Perhaps it is the microplankton, caught in the tentacles of the jellyfish, which act as the source of nutrients and energy for the leatherbacks. Leatherbacks routinely dive to 1,000 feet. They feed near the surface at night, diving deeper with the dawn as the light-sensitive jellyfish retreat to deeper waters. In pursuit of certain deep-sea species of jellyfish, they can dive to depths of 5,000 feet. With the approach of winter, leatherback turtles migrate to their warm water breeding grounds near the equator. It is not uncommon for these turtles to swim more than 3,000 miles to reach one of the very few nesting beaches remaining in the world for leatherbacks. Playa Grande, on the Pacific side of Costa Rica, is one such nesting beach. Leatherback females are solitary nesters. Their immense size, an asset in withstanding the frigid waters of deep ocean, severely weighs them down on land. In recent years, scientists have noticed a severe decline in the number of nesting females along the coasts of Mexico and Central America. With leatherbacks already threatened with extinction worldwide, the loss of mature females at such an important nesting area has scientists greatly concerned. During this same time, they have documented increasing numbers of leatherbacks being accidentally caught and drowned in fishing nets. Scientists fear that the unregulated and dramatically increasing use of gill nets may be one of the major reasons for the sudden decline of nesting leatherbacks. The leatherback caught in this net was lucky, and the fishermen were able to release it safely back to the sea. In an attempt to learn more about the migration routes of the leatherbacks, Dr. Scott Eckert has begun a unique research project that involves placing radio transponders on the turtles. The migration routes of the turtles are then tracked by satellite. The radio transponder is designed to fall off the turtle within 30 days. The researchers have tracked leatherbacks from Mexico to as far south as Peru. The information gained from this research will enable scientists to work closely with fishermen and the governments of Mexico, Central and South America to develop a protection plan for this magnificent and endangered sea turtle. The Pacific side of Costa Rica has a rich and diverse coastal ecosystem that also provides an important nesting area for the most abundant species of sea turtle in the world, the olive ridley. Named for their beautiful olive green shell, these sea turtles are the most commonly found species in the coastal waters of Mexico, Central and South America. One of the most important nesting beaches for olive ridleys is near the Costa Rican village of Ostional, one of only 12 nesting sites remaining in the world for this species of sea turtle. The village of Ostional was first settled about 80 years ago. Olive ridleys have been nesting along this coastline for hundreds of thousands, perhaps even millions of years, making the 100-year human occupation a mere blink of the eye, compared to the time olive ridleys have used this area to mate and give birth. As we'll discover, the lives and future of the people of Ostional are inextricably linked with the protection of the olive ridley turtles. Like all sea turtles, olive ridleys return to the same beach where they were born when they are ready to mate and lay their eggs. One theory is that the sea turtles, like salmon, are imprinted at birth with the scent and taste of their natal beach, which somehow they are able to recognize when they return 25 years later. Whatever navigational tool is used by the turtles, it is very effective. A few weeks before the nesting season begins, tens of thousands of olive ridleys converge from thousands of miles across the eastern Pacific to the coastal waters near Ostional. On shore, the excitement and anticipation builds among the people of Ostional as the entire village awaits the great arrival of the sea turtles. Humans are not the only ones waiting anxiously for the arribada to begin. It is now the twilight of early evening, and as if in response to some ancient and mysterious signal, the turtles suddenly begin to come ashore. Wave after wave of turtles emerge onto the beach. Up to 40,000 turtles will come ashore to nest. Throughout this long, dark night, over 4 million eggs will be deposited on the beach at Ostional. By dawn, this primordial reptilian invasion is nearly over, as the last of the turtles return to the sea. The females will remain offshore to mate again before returning in 30 days for the next arribada. About 60 days after the first arribada, the olive ridley hatchlings begin to emerge. The baby turtles must run a gauntlet of predators that have been anxiously awaiting their appearance. Unlike their land turtle relatives, sea turtles cannot retract their head or limbs into their shell for protection. Ghost crabs exploit this weakness with the hatchlings. They grab the turtles' flippers with their claws and finally pull them into their burrows below. Packs of coatimundi are the next to arrive and begin feasting on the millions of turtle eggs that now litter the beach. Even other reptiles, like this crocodile, join in the feeding frenzy. And as if the relentless attacks from predators were not enough of a problem, this baby turtle has become snagged in a discarded fishing net. Finally, its tenacity pays off as the determined hatchling frees itself and makes a final dash across the sand into the safety of the sea. After each arribada, the entire village of Ostionao descends upon the beach, and the harvesting of the turtle eggs begins in earnest. What at first appears to be another example of unregulated harvest of the turtle nests is actually part of a very successful program developed by scientists, the Costa Rican government, and the village of Ostionao to protect the sea turtles, their eggs, and this important nesting beach. Scientists have determined that up to 10% of the eggs from each arribada can be harvested without having any negative impact on the survival rate of the turtles. This sustainable egg harvest project was organized with the help of Dr. Peter Pritchard, a world-renowned sea turtle biologist. Peter is returning to Ostionao to check up on the sea turtles and to see how the sustainable harvest is faring, now in its 10th year of operation. Everyone in the village participates. For the families and children of Ostionao, the arrival of the turtles is both hard work and cause for great celebration. After the local towns are supplied, the remainder of the eggs are taken for sale to the urban markets in San Jose, Costa Rica's capital. The project has been so successful that most of the families of Ostionao earn nearly 1/3 of their annual income from the Sustainable Egg Harvest Project. The inspiring work and dedication of the people of Ostionao, the Costa Rican government, and scientists like Dr. Pritchard provide an important example of how people and turtles can coexist in a way that assures these magnificent creatures will not vanish from the earth. The sea turtle's remarkable story is a powerful expression of hope. Where once our human relationship to these defenseless creatures was defined by exploitation and cruelty, we are now also capable of great compassion and the commitment needed to assure that the oceans of our planet will forever be graced by the presence of these ancient mariners.
We came to visit the city once known as Constantinople. This is the only city in the world straddling 2 continents, Asia and Europe.
And the only city that has been a capital of 2 consecutive empires, Christian and Islamic. Ancient and modern, religious and secular, all coexist here. Istanbul, ancient crossroads.
Coming up next. Hi, I'm Mark Wahlberg. Whether you're an antiques expert or amateur, Roadshow has a little something for everyone.
What do you think of that?
I think that's fantastic.
Don't miss our visit to Baltimore, Maryland next time